What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, my fighters? I'm One Eyebrow, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about the Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 22, the Season 10 finale. Here's Negan. Obviously, spoiler warning for all things Walking Dead. That's the show and the comics. Now, did you catch these things? We make these Easter egg videos after pretty much every episode because The Walking Dead does a great job, really an extremely great job of having Easter eggs, callbacks, and connections to previous episodes of The Walking Dead, the comic, different shows, and movies. But if you love The Walking Dead as much as we do, hit that subscribe button and become a valued member of our PT channel, Walking Dead family, today. But right off the bat, pun intended, look at Lucille's shirt. You can't really make it out too much, but I believe it says Half Moon. And who was Half Moon? Beta, that was his stage name, pre-apocalypse. He was a singer. Half Moon, she's rocking the t-shirt, Half Moon. We know that Negan and Lucille were definitely about the music. They love certain music. And Negan actually recognized him when Beta was killed and the walkers ripped off his mask and Beta actually was revealed. But the song that Maggie and Herschel sing is You Are My Sunshine, and that was clearly a callback to Season 7 with Negan and Carl when Carl sang that same song to Negan. Coral. Carol takes Negan to a cabin. Whose cabin? Which cabin? The cabin we saw in Season 10, Episode 18, Leah's cabin. Well, I guess Leah and Daryl's cabin, and Leah went away. Hopefully we'll see her again. But Carol made the decision, the executive decision, to take Negan away from Alexandria and put him in the cabin. Now, was it Carol's decision? Well, I'm not sure, but either way, Carol made the decision and Negan went away, and then Negan remembered who he was. He went back and looked for Lucille, the baseball bat Lucille, because his wife clearly died, and he went back to the tree that we saw in Season 8, Episode 16, the finale there. So it was fitting that he went back to the same spot the last time they saw it. And it was a nice callback when we saw Michonne talking to Negan when Negan was in the jail cell and when Rick and Negan had their confrontation here. And I still don't know why the stained glass windows are hanging from the tree branches, but it's kind of nice. But Negan finds Lucille, kills the walker by hitting it twice with, a broken Lucille. And it's definitely a callback to the comic when Negan broke Lucille on Beta's back. It didn't happen in Season 10, Episode 16, but it happened here. He doesn't do the same comic ending for the bat. He says his goodbyes to Lucille when he burns the bat, saying goodbye to his past. He finally says his goodbyes to his wife and the baseball bat. In the comic, he buries it, so it's kind of the same thing, but instead of burying it, he burned it, which is a little different. And we all know that the show is the show when the comic is the comic. And in the comic, there is no Laura that gives him the baseball bat. He finds it another way. But Laura is definitely a callback to the Saviors. And I believe Angela Kang wanted to have Dwight come back for it, but that didn't happen. But Laura was clearly a savior. And it begs the question, why didn't she have more of a role with the Saviors if she had a previous connection with Negan? And she should have had more medical background knowledge. But either way, it's a nice callback. And in the comics, it's Dwight that's there instead of Laura. There is no Laura in the Here's Negan comic. But either way, it's pretty cool. Now, Negan Smith, the Smiths live here. And that's a nice callback to when Robert Kirkman said that it's Smith. I think his name is Negan Smith. And he was trolling, but they put that in there on the mailbox, and it's kind of faint, but you see the Smiths live there. As for the Mustang, I don't know if it's a callback or connection, but that's the license plate. If you saw it, I see 11 there, so we're going into Season 11. And on the phone, we see it's November 12th, when I guess it was the start of the zombie apocalypse, because we heard on the radio when Lucille starts up the Mustang, the guys talking on the radio that the attackers are biting. So November 12th looks to be the starting date of the zombie apocalypse on The Walking Dead. Lucille has cancer, and I said this before and I said it again, it's very Breaking Bad-esque the way they shot this, but Lucille has pancreatic cancer, and it's not said in this episode. It was in a previous episode when I believe Negan said it to Father Gabriel when they're in the trailer in Season 8. Now, you see the medication in the fridge, and this is a sad refrigerator, I have to say, right? But besides the IV bags, you see a jar of tomato sauce or tomato gravy or pasta sauce or whatever you want to call this, right? To me, that's a callback to when Negan made spaghetti in Alexandria in Rick's house. And fun fact for you, the Morgans actually stayed in that house when filming this Season 10 episode, and I guess all of Season 10C. And they also hinted at Negan's culinary skills when he was like, it was a reduction sauce, a wine reduction or something he says there, but he knows how to cook. And we clearly see this here, like he's got Lucille at the dinner table. And even here in season 7, Lucille joins him for dinner. Pretty funny. And we all can admit, Hillary Burton Morgan does a great job as Lucille, and she really was great in this episode. But Negan is a child, right? I mean, Negan definitely was playing video games. He was talking about his shit in pants, and it's a callback to when he was talking about that in the show before, obviously. But he's playing video games, he's talking to kids, he's talking trash, and he's just being Negan, right? He does that in the comic. They're playing ping pong here, they're playing video games. There's subtle little nods to the Here's Negan comic, and that's what it is. A Here's Negan comic is what's the basis for this episode. But Negan is pretty hilarious. You have to admit, he's one of the funnier characters, and I believe that he's playing Gears of War. I don't have an Xbox, but you see the Xbox controller and you hear the chainsaw, and it's kind of a zombie style killing game. So is it that game? I don't know. If you check the screenshot coming up right here, is that Gears of War? Again, I don't have an Xbox, I have a PS4, so that's what I play. And when she says this Happy Days BS, that's clearly a connection with the Fonz. He wore a leather jacket on Happy Days. And we all know that Lucille died. But that's a nice red phone you got there. A nice red flip phone, by the way. And if you look at Negan's hat, it's hard to tell. It happens really fast, and it's kind of far away from the screen. But it says Saviors Athletics. So is this where he got the name for to call his group the Saviors? Nice red wig you got there too. So if you believe the red object theory or not, it's clearly evident here, and it was highlighted with Lucille. Also with the darts, I know if you ever play darts, they have like the ends with the tails on it. Some of them have like an American flag and a UK or a Great Britain flag, and she's using the Great Britain flag, and I thought it was a callback. I mean, I know darts do this anyway, so it's not that big a deal, but there's a lot of people from the UK on the show and in the Walking Dead universe, so I see the subtle nod there. Also, do you recognize this bar? This bar, I don't know if it's open anymore, but it's right out by the studio in Sonoy. It's also the same exterior bar. In the episode Here's Negan, we see the interior shots of it, but these are exterior shots of the same bar that was used in season 3. You can tell by the awning and the roof and just the same setup. But in season 3, also that's a big red sign there, right? Who was in this car? Merle. And it's clearly the same filming location. They reuse filming locations all the time with The Walking Dead, and if you ever had a tour, it's pretty cool. Now, I've seen a lot of questions about the RV. I think it's a separate RV. Never seen this one before, especially with the design of the mountains and the trees on the door. But we've seen a bunch of different RVs, and I think a zombie apocalypse story has to have an RV. It has to have like a mall, an RV, dogs, different things in a zombie apocalypse stuff. But we've seen different RVs over the different seasons with Dale's RV, our groups, and then the one they took from the satellite station. I don't think it's the same one, but it's definitely a nice callback to previous RVs. Now, speaking of Merle, this was him in the car. Look at those walkers right there. They're like, ooh, give me a drink, man. Come on. This guy definitely reminded me so much of Merle. I know it's not the same guy, but the patch on his back said Ohio. I think we're going to there in the Commonwealth. And when Negan was like, yeah, when I punched that guy, all I could see was red. That's real. That's a real thing. Reminded me instantly of Morgan when he was like, red, red, all I see was red, and then I do it. And then also when Rick saw red before he went crazy inside Alexandria, he sees a red balloon and different red objects, and then it was there. The red wig, check it out, it's back again. Now the writing on the door was clearly put there by Lucille, but a lot of people are asking questions, and I'm kind of wondering too, how would she know that she will reanimate? She wrote, please don't leave me like this. When she killed herself, she committed suicide, but it begs the question, is it a mistake, a plot hole? Does it make sense? I'm not overthinking it, I just want to know your opinion. And when Negan enters the room, you can see the key ring holder there. There's some flowers on there. Look at the flowers, right? Negan goes back to Alexandria, and I instantly thought of him walking back to our group in the comics when he's like, hello there, hey guys, I come in peace. And he doesn't wave, and it's not the same thing, there's no scope on him, but it just reminded me of that. Negan goes back inside Alexandria, and he's there to live. It's not gonna work at the cabin, so he goes back in and stares at Maggie, and Maggie stares right back at him. So what's gonna happen with these two? Does Negan want Maggie to take him out so he can join Lucille? Or does he think like, yeah, I paid my dues, I deserve to be here. I've done a lot of things, and I deserve to be here just as much as you. What do you think? But did you catch these things? I thought this episode was great. It was one of those things where there's a lot of callbacks, connections, Easter eggs to prior seasons of The Walking Dead, different shows, different things. It was just awesome. Really great way to end season 10, which was a really great season in my opinion. On to season 11, that'll be on television this August. Yes, not October, August 22nd, 2021 is when The Walking Dead season 11 starts on television. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Did I miss anything? Do you agree? Disagree? Thank you guys. Stay safe and tell them, Daryl.